Hello, everyone. How are you guys all doing? I hope you're all doing well here. Welcome to a mental health live stream. It's been a couple of months since I've done one here on this channel. Initially, I was planning to do one around Christmas time, but hold on, I'll just hold that there. People basically said to me, a lot of people basically reached out and said, "Can you please do it in January, not Christmas time? It's better to do it there after the Christmas period." And so I decided to do it then. And then I think it was last week or the week before, Witchy Goth reached out and said, can we do one together? And I said, yeah, why not? Why not? Because I think, rather than just kind of me talking to the camera, it's nice to have someone to talk to who's also been through, who's gone through her own mental health experiences as well as myself and you guys in the chat. So, Witchy, how are you doing today?
I'm actually good. Strangely, I'd forgotten that I had a call with my psychiatrist at midday. So that was quite a rushed call because I still had to go out for my run. And but it was interesting. I decided to lower my meds again on my duloxetine, which is my antidepressant. My mood stabilizer will stay the same. All my other drugs stay the same. So I raised it before Christmas, sort of in September last year, because I was going through so much stress. A lot of it was to do with studying. And I since made that decision to defer my studies, and that has lifted a huge amount of weight. So yeah, that's how I am today. Going out for a run was a bit of a mission because of course we've got like 2 inches of snow, which is turning to slush. So it was more of a little jog than a run, but yeah, I'm doing okay. I think this dark weather doesn't do us any favors either. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I just wanted to add before I talk about my own experiences, how important are those runs for you from a mental point of view? Because I really do feel, and maybe I'm just reading this a little bit, but it really does kind of help clear your mind of everything that's going on. How big of a difference is it doing that run every day?
It is huge. Absolutely huge. There's not just the physical health benefits from it, but it, like you say, it clears my mind. I don't run on the roads. I run where I live. Down the side of my house, there's a public footpath that goes through the fields and then up to the woods. So I run around the woods and I run through the fields, and so there's very few people. It's mostly dog walkers. So sometimes I get chased by dogs, which is okay, I guess. But it really does help me. If I miss a day, like yesterday, I missed because I wasn't feeling so good. I've got a bit of a throat issue, so I got some antibiotics yesterday. So I thought, okay, give it a miss yesterday. But today I was just itching to get out. So I thought, okay. And it's an achievement. It is an achievement. So it's like, I make a to-do list every day, and running is the main one. So it's like a big tick. There we go. I've done that. And I've sometimes I don't enjoy it. Sometimes I go out and I think I feel awful, but I've done it. But like today, even though it was more of a jog than a run, I absolutely loved it, and it does make a massive difference. And of course, I've lost weight as well, which was a huge problem. I mean, being on antidepressants and mood stabilizers, they both make you gain weight. So for me, it means I can eat more because I'm burning off extra calories. But also, I'm now entering races. I mean, I don't know, I'm not going to win. I don't enter them to win. I enter them as a competition for myself. I think I'm quite a competitive person when it comes to things like that. So it's more of I'm going to beat my time, and I want the medals at the end because you pay an entry fee and you get a medal at the end. So yeah.
So you get a participation medal. Is that what? Do they have participation medals then?
Yeah, you do. Like every sort of race, you get your medal. I mean, obviously, if you come first, second, or third in whatever category you are, you're going to get a decent medal. But the ones that they give out are all the same. So it's just nice to know that you've participated. And of course, when you run as well, you get a bib. that you pin onto your running vest. And there's a chip on there that monitors the time. So as you go through the start, it clicks you. And as you come back through the finish, it clicks you. So you've got an accurate time as well, which is good. So, you know, you can check that online. And most of the races are very professional. They are. And I don't necessarily like running with other people, but once you find your space, you know, in that sort of crowd, you find your space and your pace, and you just carry on. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things, obviously, well, before I get into my points, I just want to say hello to everyone in the chat. Billy Kershaw, Rosemary, Ben Shaw, good to see you there. Indy Duckmel, Ben Ridgins, good to see you there, and Viper Scott, good to see so many friendly faces. Hope you guys are all doing well, guys. If you want to share anything at all in down in the comments, please do, and you're more than welcome to do so here. We're just obviously just right now we're just talking about running. Running, I can't remember the last time I actually done a run. Most of my exercise tends to be walking, and I tend to do 10,000 steps a day. There are some days where I don't do it, and I at least at the bare minimum go walking down to the shops and back, so that at least I'm getting out of the house at least. The days where I don't go out at all are very bad for me. That's definitely problematic for me. But I always try to, whenever I do the long walks, I try to hit at least 10,000 steps, so that when I come back, at least my phone doesn't say 10,000. Or if it says like 9,900, I get very annoyed. And I was like, then I give myself an excuse to go down to the shops or something just one more time, which is just like, but I always, even going for a walk, I always come back feeling like sweaty and exhausted. And that's the one thing I don't like about the walks that I do, which really actually does really help my mental health, is I get so sweaty. I have to take all the clothes off. They all need to be washed because they're all full of sweat. That's the one thing I don't like about it, because it means it's more clothes to wash.
Yeah. With me, I've got running gear. So it's a different wardrobe, and yeah. I will wear it a few days in a row. It goes over the radiator to dry off. It's only me that's smelling it. So, and you know, when you're running in the woods and it's snowy like this, my running leggings get covered in mud. So it's like, you know, just rather wear it a few times, then put it in the wash, wear the other set, and then, you know, so I alternate between the two. Especially now because I'm wearing base layers, which is the thermal stuff. So it's got the fleecy insides, which is great. It keeps me warm, but you know, it's expensive. It's very expensive. So I've only got the two pairs. So yeah, it's just make do. You know, I live on my own. If I smell, I smell. Nobody else is here to smell me. So yeah, but I know what you mean. Got to get out of all that sweaty clothes. Yeah.
How long do you roughly run for? Just out of curiosity.
Well, my sort of 3K is about 33 minutes at the moment. So today I did 4, so I was out a bit longer than normal because of the snow and puddles and mud. So it was about 45 minutes, I think it was today. That was 4Ks. If I'm doing a 5K, it can take anywhere from 45 to 50, depending on the terrain. So if I've got a lot of hills, I'm slower. But if it's flat, I'm much faster. So it depends on where I am. But I've managed to get my time down by 3 minutes on my 5K and 3 minutes on my 10K. So I'm really pleased with that. But I've got a race next Sunday at Sherwood Pines. And I know the route, so it's not too hilly. But if the weather's like this, I'm not going to beat my record. I'm going to be, you know, you've got to watch where you run. So yeah, and I've got another one on the 14th of February at Carsington Water in South Derbyshire, and that's a difficult route. That's a 10K. So that's the one that I'm not looking forward to so much. So yeah.
I think normally my walks are roughly between an hour and a half. So it's about an hour and a half before I walk back. But I normally go the same route over and over again. I always go, because I have a massive park not far from where I am, and I always walk the outskirts. And it's very so that I avoid really I do hit some of the fields in the big park, and it is a massive park. But every now and then I will come across dog owners, and like you said, you're with the dogs jumping on you, they do, like, they just bark at me for no reason, and it could be like the clothes that I'm wearing or whatever reason. It's just like, and I just literally stand there like this because obviously I don't know how the dog's going to react, and then the owner obviously takes control. But it really does help, yeah, those walks. Just want to come to something Ben Shaw says here. Says, I ditched the antidepressants after 3 months of having a dog. Spent 20 years on them, on and off, but walking and his big fluffy face every day was better than any drug. That's lovely to hear, Ben. I love that. First and foremost, you have a dog, which is absolutely awesome. And it's not just a pet; it is a companion. It's something that I feel with the same with my cats, even though one of them can't help but not go outside to do their business. But it's an absolute wonderful thing to have an animal, especially whether it's dogs or cats. They're absolutely wonderful pets, and it's fantastic that that you've been able to ditch the antidepressants, and may it continue, Ben. I really, really mean that. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that. There. What is the dog's name, Ben? If you wouldn't mind sharing, we'd love to know if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit of that. I think that's lovely there. I think it's Witchy's mic picking up. Yeah. I think my mic is picking up a bit on Witchy's side. I don't really want to do anything I don't really want to do anything with the sounds, just in case we lose any of the sounds there, guys.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I've got I can turn off the mic when you're speaking though, but I mean I'm just worried that I lose you again when pressing buttons. You know what I'm like.
Don't press the wrong button. Yeah.
And I don't have headphones. I don't have a microphone that works with this phone. We tried it last time, didn't we? And it didn't work. So I do apologize for anybody who's getting double feed. It's me. It's from my side. So yeah.
Witchy, tell us about. I've never taken antidepressants, and Ben obviously spoke in the comments about taking them. Tell me from your experiences, how they can be helpful to you or other people, because I'm somebody who's never taken them. I have been offered them in the past and I've rejected them, but from your experiences, what is it about them that can is it something that actually helps people, or is it more of a psychological thing? Antidepressants from your experience.
There are two types. There's SSRIs, which are serotonin inhibitors. And then there are the ones that I take, which are, I can't remember what they are now, but the brand that I take is duloxetine, which is very similar to Prozac. It's the sort of sister to Prozac. Now, SSRIs, such as citalopram, they will lift your mood immediately. They have an immediate effect. I have been on those, but they do send me manic because I've got bipolar disorder. So my moods need to be balanced. So I can be very depressed or very manic. But so I take the mood stabilizer to stabilize my mood, but then the antidepressant stops me from being too far down because I am bipolar with depression. So you get, it takes years to work out what sort of medication you need when you've got such a complex mental health issue. But antidepressants, generally, most people will be given the SSRIs, which is the serotonin inhibitor. So it will immediately lift your mood. It has that immediate effect. So anybody who is depressed from, is suffering with just depression, it's a good drug to take. And, depression, we all have moods. I always like to draw a line and to demonstrate to people, and, this is what you're aiming for, this sort of middle section here. And it will go up and down through the day. Different things affect us. Your TV doesn't want to work, or your car won't start, but then it does start, so you have those little niggling things, or you burn your toast, which I did this morning, and I hate that. Stand there scraping off the burnt bit. But what happens with bipolar disorder is you go like that. So your moods are actually really, really elevated and really, really low. So most people who are put onto SSRIs or, tablets that are specifically for depression, their mood will have been down here and possibly for a long time. And that could be due to any number of reasons. Let's say you've had a bereavement in the family and you were close to that person. So to have that medication to help you through that time is great. But the thing that I think that we all need more than anything is therapy. And I'm not saying that because I'm studying psychology. I'm saying that because talking to somebody who you don't know, who has studied and understands what that person's going through, is far better than any drug. It really, really is. If I could come off of my medication, I would, but I can't. I've tried in the past. And for me, I know this is what I have to do to, stay sane, to not be, sectioned. So, yeah.
Just Indie Duck, I can read what you're saying in the chat. Just take a deep breath and relax, okay? Honestly, Duck, it's okay. You don't need to. If you want to take a step back because it's too much for you, that's fine. But you're fine. You know that you're always welcome on both our channels anytime. All right. It's okay. You can whatever you want to say in the chat, you can say. It's fine. It's totally all right. I can't really follow any sound anyway. Yeah, I know it's a little bit annoying with the sound thing there. I get that. I can see how like that little thing is just gonna be like, it's so annoying sort of thing, and it can kind of trigger an impulse. I can get that. But sometimes we just need to take a deep breath and just try to relax, Mel. It's okay, honestly. Like, you really just try and take a, and as Viper Scott says, if you need to step away for a little bit, feel free to do so as well. It's totally fine. Don't feel bad in any way, shape, or form. All right, you're totally fine, Mel. Honestly.
Do you want me to try and mute the microphone?
You can give it a try. If you can give it a try, if you want.
Okay, let's see what happens. I'll log back on if I press the wrong button here. Bear with me. I'm not very good at this, so.
Okay, so she's just muted her mic for the moment there. I had Kevin said I had a Stewer or a stalker. Is that stalker? Sorry, Kevin. Just want to confirm. Would flash at me. Ended up quite bad. Mental health suffered as well as police were involved. Was put on meds and headed it. I used Monty Zangaricic. Apologies for mispronounced name. Brain Prince Mary method. What is that? What is a stalker, Kevin? If you wouldn't mind sharing with me, appreciate that. I'm sorry you went through that. I can't imagine what's what that's like in any way, shape, or form. Diane said, good to see you there, Diane Keane, and Kevin, anybody else in the chats. Diane said, I had ADHD and autism and was prescribed ADHD meds, and they fucked me for a while until I stopped taking them, and I feel better ever since. There are situations where the medicines are supposed to help you, but they can end up having backfire on you. And I think the best way I can describe it is that it's sometimes everybody is different. So not everyone's situation requires medicine, but obviously when you speak to healthcare professions, they normally say, well, they sometimes, if they can't, or a psychologist or whatever it is, and they can't help you in terms without the needs of medicines, then they offer medicines as an alternative. And that can sometimes be the wrong thing because it can end up making things worse rather than making things better. It's not to say that that they don't help. situations. There are cases where it does make a difference to people's lives, but for some people it's not. So I think it's a combination of things. Ben Shaw says everyone should go for therapy. It's beyond important, more important than any pet. It's not as everyone can have a pet. Absolutely. Not everyone can afford a pet. They cost a lot of money. You have to clean up after them as well. And they can be annoying in the middle of the night as well, as the two cats I have here are prime examples of that as well. And of course, as a dog, you have to take them out for walks, which, by the way, for some people, they absolutely love doing that. But there's also the effect of if you're not feeling great and you've got to take them out, and it's just like sometimes there's days where you don't want to do it, and it's like, well, you still got to go out there and do it if you want to. Kevin says, sorry, stalker is someone who follows you, runs after you, watches. I see. My apologies. Thank you, Kevin, for anyone who anyone who goes through that is absolutely terrible, and I'm so sorry, Kevin. You went through that. I can't, absolutely awful thing. Have you actually had Witchy Goth? Have you actually had like well, you've had therapy, have you, with your mental health? Have you?
Yeah, I have lots and lots. I managed to find a therapist locally the last couple of years after my ex left. That's a whole big story, but she actually gave me a discount because of the fact that I'm on benefits. So she did give me a discount, and she was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And you know, who was it who said everybody should have
Ben Shaw says everyone should go for therapy.
Yeah, I think, it is, and I think it depends on where you live as well as to the cost and who's in your area. But there are services online now that you can access, so that they can match you with a person. I do not know how much they cost. The other thing I think that is happening now is there's quite a big movement towards setting up support groups that are free, so like charity-based support groups and that kind of thing. So that's always a good thing to look for in your area, but it's not always available. Again, it depends the area that you live in. Sorry, I'm just looking at the stalker thing. I mean, wow, that must be terrifying. I know that I have issues with people and going out because of what happened to me with my ex. So there's always that fear that I'll bump into him. But I've never had an actual stalker. So that the amount of trauma that you must have experienced through that is terrifying. Kudos to you for coping. And I see that you said that you moved eventually. And I can see, odd moments with locks and that sort of thing. Yeah, I've experienced that myself, changed the locks on my house as well, and changed my routine. But now I found out that person's moved on. So that's good. I no longer have to worry about that happening to me. Yeah.
Indie Duck, you say there, therapy caused the PTSD for you. Therapy as a child gave me PTSD as a child. He said, I got sent in for being unruly in school. I had been put in I don't want to say that word, in a kids class with an IQ of 130. I wasn't unruly, I was bored. So I want to just touch on something when I was a child. When I was a child, I've shared this story with you guys here, and I think it'd be interesting to from Witch's perspective when I talk about this as well. And I mentioned this many times when I've done mental health live streams for you guys, that when I was a child, I had very, very bad temper issues. And I used to take Ritalin. My parents would prescribe me Ritalin to help me with that. And there are times where I just have these outbursts of anger. Don't know where they come from. It's just from, it could be all sorts of situations. And eventually I got expelled from secondary school because it got too much, became too problematic for the school. So I ended up going to an EBD school, they called Emotional Behavior Difficulty School. It was an all-boys school in Bushy. I don't know if it's still there. It was called Falconer School, and it was a case of they come to pick you up instead of you going to the school. They would actually they would drive. They would come with their vans, and they would pick you up from your homes and bring you to the school, like as a case of parents actually bringing you there. So they had that kind of thing which really helped children and parents. It was a big help for parents as well with those children, so that they could actually just go to work and not have to worry about taking them to school and bringing them back as well. They would drop them off as well. And I don't know if the Ritalin really helped or not personally. I was very problematic in taking it because I didn't like eating or chewing anything. I wouldn't swallow it with a water or anything. Like, I had to put food in with it in order to take the Ritalin. It got to a point where I didn't need it anymore, and I don't know what changed about me in that school, but I think one of the main things I learned from my tempers was to learn to walk away from situations that escalated. And I took that lesson very much into my line of retail when there were times where things got way too heated, where I would just simply turn around and walk away. And I actually got told off by people for sometimes doing that in those situations. And I said that if I don't, then it's only going to get worse for myself and that person there. I don't know, obviously, I don't know your full background, Mel, obviously, with regards to your situation. You can only speak for yourself, but I'm sorry that you went through what you went through, and I don't know what your situation was like as a child, because everyone's situation is different. But I've said this before, and I say this again. I'm very, very fortunate that I have a lot of family that I can reach out to if I need to. I'm very fortunate that I have a partner, because some people don't have that as well. I don't take that for granted, but that doesn't mean that there are times where I can't. Like, there are things that I don't talk to family because I'd rather talk to a stranger about it, because I can feel more comfortable talking about a certain thing. That's not to mean to say that I don't trust my parents, or I don't trust my partner, or I don't trust family. It's just sometimes talking to a complete stranger means that, what's the worst that could happen? Well, they're not going, like, it's kind of like outside your box sort of thing. Like, you're talking to someone like outside your zone, if you know what I mean there. And Viper Scott just wanting to remind people as well, which is really, really important, the Samaritans. Link for them is in the description, as well as their phone number. I can't tell you guys how amazing the Samaritans are. I've shared with you guys in the past about how I spoke to the Samaritans when I had that really, really bad time a few years ago as well. They were really helpful to me. Before I just bring Witchy Goth back in, I just want to read Mel's part here, saying, sorry, I had no reason to be in therapy. And the evil, vicious therapist would get all in my space and demand how I felt about my mum saying no. Did my dad touch me? Everything. He didn't, by the way. Okay. This was Sweden in the 80s. There was 2 options, general class or special class, for the unruly and those with learning difficulties together. Yeah, that didn't work. Child therapy program here is usually that way. Something happens, or you have eating disorder. I didn't fit in. So basically, I was in therapy for no reason. Then things that started happening that made me need it. But by then, I didn't trust it. I absolutely hated talking to someone. I mean, that effing works. So I don't want to pry too much into your personal life, Mel, but and you don't have to say anything, but I gathered that there perhaps maybe, and you don't have to say anything, you honestly don't, but that there may have been things in your family that perhaps it wasn't a perfect family and there were problems. And if that was the case, and you don't have to share that if you don't want to, if that's the case, I hope that wasn't. All I can say is I'm sorry that you went through that. And I don't know. I don't know what I can kind of say or do to kind of help you in that situation. I don't know if there's anything witchy you can help in, if you want to try and help Mel in this, from what she's spoken about there.
Bless you, Mel. That's awful. I've had some experience with dreadful therapists in the past, and I said, no, I don't want to see you anymore. And what I do now is, what I did with my last therapist was I interviewed them. So contacted them, you can do online search. I can't remember what the group was, but I was like looking for therapists in my area. So there were about 4 or 5. It had to be a lady for me at the time. And I think it's often good to go with somebody who is the same gender as you, however you identify, because obviously they're going to have that knowledge of your problem. So if you're a man, I would suggest you see a man. If you're a woman, see a woman. And if you are trans, see somebody who is trans or gay, or because I don't think that if you haven't had that experience, it can be difficult to understand that problem. But I interviewed them. So I saw 3 people. They normally allow you to have a free session so that you get to know them. And I always took a list of questions as well. So I had my note, pen and paper there as well. And I saw, as soon as I walked into this lady's practice, I knew this is the one for me. She had a completely different way about her to the others. And it was like, okay, and don't feel guilty for saying to the other one, I'm still, I'm looking around at different therapists to see which one suits me. I think that's something that's very English, is that a lot of English people, British people, tend to put up with, rather than making that decision about themselves. Like at my GP practice, there is one doctor that I refuse to see. And if I do have to see him, I ask for a chaperone. And I think it's all about taking control of your own personal space. Even through the NHS, I had a CPN, clinical practitioner nurse, who I did not like. She told me to do something that I disagreed with. And I was sat there and I thought, that's not the kind of advice that I would give somebody. And so I contacted the NHS and said, look, I don't want to see that person. Please, can you send another person? And they did. So you have a right as a patient to choose the therapist that works for you. And I think that sometimes, though, we do have to face realities, which is hard, because often we don't want to face the reality of, having to leave a partner, for example, because they are causing problems in your life, and it can be a slow realization. But not all therapists are bad. And I know Elle said you don't want a therapist, and that's fine. We all have that. Again, we all have a choice. Do we want a therapist or not? And, if you don't want a therapist, what I can suggest is there are loads of free online seminars around mental health. And I've done several of them, and loads of advice. You can watch them. You can take notes. They send you the links. You don't have to pay. Some things they want you to pay for, but just take the basic. And Dr. Gabor Mate, he is brilliant. If you have never seen his stuff, he specifically works with trauma, and we've all had trauma. Each and every single one of us has gone through some form of trauma. So I can suggest that as well, because then you can sit and watch it on your TV in your own home. And if you don't like it, you can turn it off.
Do you want to put a link in the link? Can you find the link and see if you can? Is that possible?
I'll have a look. Just bear with. I'll do it on my other phone, so I'll see what I can do.
If you can, and then you can put the link in the description. And then if people want to, the other option I just want to suggest as well, if not, you could always just put it. Are you on Discord? Sorry.
No, it's something that is, it's coming. it's coming. We're getting there. We're slowly getting there.
No, it's fine. I was going to suggest to put it on there as well, but once you put the link on, I'm sure Viper Scott won't mind copying it and put it in the mental health section on the Discord server as well.
Yeah.
For people, if you can, that'd be appreciated. Just want to say hello to One Angry Pagan. Good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Mel says, I'm a duck. That's right. So you need to see a duck therapist. So a park where you take care of all the ducks. That's what you need. We appreciate you, Mel. We really do. One Angry Pagan says, me studying of evolution is one of the things that I used to help me deal with my mental instabilities. I saw a shrink in Plymouth and she tried telling me that paganism was a symptom of something wrong. It pissed me right off, considering that she was a woman of faith herself. That sounds to me like somebody who's, rather than actually looking to help you with your problems, looking to convert you from your ideology or belief there. And straight away, that's a red flag for somebody there. It shouldn't be anything to do with your faith. It should be about your mental health and your well-being, rather than whatever ideology or belief that you have. And that's exactly what that person was doing there. And as Witchy Goth said about switching, obviously trying someone else there. Thank you for sharing, Pagan. I appreciate it. Ben Shaw says, I saw a few male therapists. Not one did I connect with yet. The first female I saw was great, and I spent 4 years with her. Yeah, sometimes the opposite sex in the therapy can be beneficial. Sometimes a male on male one doesn't work out. Sometimes you're more comfortable speaking with a female, and sometimes it can be the opposite way for a female wanting a male therapist. It's every person is different. Thanks for sharing that, Ben. I appreciate it. I definitely need one, but they're a disaster, says Ellie. Is that a therapist are you referring to? Sorry there. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but are you suggesting you had a bad experience? Ellie, you don't have to share if you don't want to. Kevin says, I would suggest being aware of behavior changes. I stayed away from friends for a long time. They didn't understand, but I had to research things, and isolation was an aspect. Sometimes as we change, evolve, we get older and whatnot, sometimes we don't always fit in with the same groups of people that we used to. There was a group of people that I used to fit in with as I was building up my time in retail. And the longer I hung out with them, the more I realized they weren't my kind of people. And eventually I moved away from them. It's different for everyone. So sometimes some groups, like, I think for me, obviously, and I think even Witchy can speak this from experience, because when we were younger, both of us, we didn't have social media, whereas you got people literally connecting to you as like 24/7. It's not a case of when you come out of school and whatnot, you can kind of switch off and be away from them. For both our experiences, we didn't have that. So a lot of school kids, I don't know what happened to a lot of my school kids that I was with, because I didn't really exchange phone numbers with them. Didn't really hang out with a lot of kids, from especially in the boys' school, because a lot of them were a lot more problematic than I was, and I didn't want to associate myself with them. I really didn't, because even though some of them came out of that better, including myself, I still felt some of them were more trouble for me if I stood too close to them. And I was always seeing them as somebody that I wasn't an outdoor person. I always liked sitting at home. I liked playing video games. That was kind of my thing. And I still play video games, but not the kind of games that actually really affected my mental health when I was younger. Call of Duty obviously being one of the most terrible ones there. But it's different for everyone there. But yeah, every group is there is different. I mean, did you want to come in on that, Witchy, about obviously being with different groups and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, different groups of people. Yeah, I'm a goth and a pagan, so I really don't fit in with many people. However, having said that, I've learned to fit in with different groups of people. So I used to work in the corporate industry at one stage in my life, and I would have to go and see clients, and they would be from, you know, whatever part of life. So they would have different faiths, different, you know, sort of classes, you know, whether they were, you know, upper class, lower class, middle class, whatever. So it was like almost like acting. You were sort of, you know, because obviously you were trying to keep their business or get a good business rate. I think it's the same. You said you worked in retail, Regan, as well, which is like, again, you've got to have that sort of bland, no, you know, opinions when you are in retail. And it's the same sort of thing. You are, you know, so being with different friends. Yeah, I have moved away from quite a lot of friend groups in my life. And although sometimes it's been painful, so, you know, later on you think, actually, that person was creating havoc for me in my life. So that has made a big difference. And Pagan, from what you said there about, you know, that woman telling you there is something wrong with you for being pagan. I mean, it's the same as people saying, oh, there's something wrong with you because you're gay or you're trans. And I just think, you know, psychology has changed now, where, you know, when we are studying, there are certain things that we have to do and we have to abide by. So I think that old way of therapy is, you know, moving forwards in a much better way. Plus, a therapist has to go and see a therapist, and they have to attend other therapy classes to keep up with their insurance as well, because don't forget, all of these people need personal insurance. Like Regan, like you were saying at school, I mean, I'm older than you, so I was at school in the 70s. We didn't even have a telephone when I was a kid. So we used to have to go to the ticky box down the road at 2p a call. But it was, yeah, it was a very different time. Things were slower. So now we've got access, you know, 24/7 to the internet. It does create a huge amount of input. You know, we see things that happen straight away. I mean, I'm not going to talk about them, but, and that can affect us in many different ways. So I know sometimes we just have to switch off, or, you know, just go completely social media free if you need to, because that constant bombardment of news, that 24/7, all the crap that's going on out there in the world. And a lot of people with mental health problems do actually dwell on that, build it up in their minds, and it becomes this huge thing, and how it's going to affect them. I do. And I know, you know, you just have to sort of go, okay, it's not affecting me right now. But I've also found a lot of people with mental health issues are very empathic and pick up on other people's feelings very, very easily, and feel that they need to fix everything, and that we want to fix the world. We want everybody to be happy, but you need to put yourself first. Got to put yourself first. Very, very important.
You touched on social media there, which I think is a topic. You touched on social media there, and these devices, as you rightly said, as great as they are to connect with people, are also a curse. And because of my work, I average way too much time on devices, sometimes up to more than 12 hours a day, which is a lot. But there are times where I'm literally playing video games, where that I don't consider video game social media. I consider that kind of like the off thing. And you're absolutely right. We do let social media take far too much of us. And I've said this before, and I've said this again to you guys. Like, I do have like loads of different social medias, but I don't spend all day on them, just doom scrolling on TikTok or Instagram and whatnot. when I do most of that, it's mainly wrestling related, and that's kind of different because it's like it's not like politics and depression and what's going on with the news. It's more a sports orientated thing. So that there, but even spending too much on time on that can be really bad for you. And you mentioned obviously having a. I did try at one point to do like a kind of like a social media blackout, as in like trying to do like up till lunchtime before you look at your social media. I tried to do that. I tried to do it for a couple of days. I think it was last year or the year before I tried to do it, and it just wasn't. I just couldn't do it. It was too difficult for me to do it. And the way I did it was right. If I got text messages and WhatsApps, that was fine, but everything else I kind of had to leave blank. And I ended up and stopped doing it because it was affecting my work. It's like I can't do my work without it to a certain extent there. Yeah, I think social media has had a real derelicted impact on people, and I think especially like the younger generation now, they are so obsessed with some of the most boring, pointless videos that I see a lot of kids looking at, and it's just so bad for their, not just bad for their mental health, but also bad for their, for their growth, because they're sitting there just watching people do dumb stuff, for example, and it's like, yeah, it's funny, but like, yeah, all you're doing is watching the same stuff over and over. Whereas, like, I feel like even when I was younger, yeah, a lot of times I was playing video games, but I was watching different TV programs as well. So I had a mixture of things. Whereas, like with social media, you can kind of just be encased in the same thing over and over again, and I think that's a really, really bad thing. And this is where parents really have to mediate children's control of that there. But I think we're going into a whole different topic there as well. One angry pagan says, last time I equivocated pagan discrimination with LGBTQA+. I got a lot of shit from fellow leftists, just another way that I don't fit in. I'm sorry you went through that, pagan, and it's not right that that you discriminated just because of that. It's just, yeah. I mean, you've spoken. You and I have had we've had many live streams together, and we'll be having another one again later in 2 weeks' time. And it's something that people, you can't. People on, you're not always going to understand why people think and feel a certain way, and you shouldn't discriminate someone just because of their certain beliefs. I mean, as long as those beliefs don't intend to harm people. I mean, obviously, like if they intend to harm people, that's a different story. But that's not what the situation is here. Pagan says, I'm not really a social media anymore, just YouTube and Discord these days, and even then, I much prefer to learn. Kevin says about I tried to make sure I have strawberries, blueberries, dark chocolate, nuts. I think general healthy food, like those, have an impact on me. Yeah, I think food obviously does have an impact on you as well, depending on like the kinds of food that you have as well, because sometimes that can make you feel good. Sometimes it can make you feel bad because it might give you an upset stomach, or you may end up spending more time in the bathroom than you want to as well. It varies, obviously. Like chocolate is a luxury that you have that makes you feel good. As an example, like I've got a sweet tooth, so I love cake, for example. That's actually something it's not just a taste thing, but it's also, as you said, psychological thing as well with food there. Van Man, good to see you there. I hope you are doing well. It was a pleasure again to have you on yesterday. I really appreciate it. He says, I think Witchy would agree with music, rock, metal community are the friendliest. I know it's not easy for everyone, but you can't beat real world interactions with real people for our mental health. Yeah, and you touched on a great point, my friend, and that is obviously music. Music is a great thing to get out of certain moods as well. I don't know. I'm assuming you play music sometimes when you go for your walks, sometimes when you go for your runs as well, Witchy. But even sometimes when I do my walks, I play music as well. There are times where I just listen to the sound of nature and whatnot, but there's times where I'm just banging out music in my ears, and it just makes me feel good. A lot of it's like wrestling related music because it kind of keeps me into that vibe sort of thing. But yeah, music is a great get out of of your situation, especially with mental health. Which you tell us a little bit about how music impacts you in terms of your mental health and that.
Okay, I don't listen to music when I run. I like, because I'm in nature and I want to hear nature. And also there is that fear being a woman of somebody being behind you. So that's another reason. But also when I'm running, I'm listening to my breath, I'm listening to my feet, I'm listening to my body. So there is a focus on that. But when I get back into the car, you know, there are different days. Sometimes I'll listen to classic FM. And then the next day I'll be listening to Slipknot, or, you know, I've just recently got into a band called Ghost Bells. They're brand new. Going to see them next month. And gigs and music festivals are very, very big on my agenda. And like Van Man says, you know, the metal community is so friendly. I went to Bloodstock last year. And, I met so many amazing people. And, you know, you're in this, you know, you've got this camp and everybody's crammed in. And I'm one of the oldest people then. And thank you, Mel. I am actually 56, nearly 57. So I saw your comment there. So thank you for that compliment. But, yeah, so there's a lot of youngsters around, and I don't drink anymore. So, you know, I was eating from the vegan stalls. I'm not a vegan, but I have stomach issues, and I thought I don't want to eat something that's going to upset me. Like you said, you know, I try and eat as healthily as I can when I go, because I know I don't want to go to those toilets and have to sit in there for hours because they are disgusting.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes I get in the car and I'm blasting away whatever, and then other days it's quiet. I got a big CD collection and a big vinyl collection. I don't really do electronic, you know, on I mean, I've got Spotify and stuff, but I don't really. I like to have the I'm tactile. I like to have the vinyl, and the vinyl preferably over CD, but obviously CD in the car. So yeah, it does definitely elevate your mood, or it can relax you at the same time. I mean, there's so many things on YouTube now that can help you sleep, the binaural beats and all the different sort of wavelengths of, and relaxation music, meditations, those kind of things. Try them, see what works for you. You know, not all of us are the same. People have recommended certain things to me. I've tried it, it didn't work, you know, so even listening to a book rather than reading a book is, you know, often somebody's preference. I prefer to read a book, but, you know, again, it's what works for you. That's what you've got to find. Just because somebody says, oh, this is what you should be doing, you should try this, you should try that, give it a go, but don't force it. If it doesn't work for you, think, no, I'm not doing that. It's like running. If you don't like running, don't run. You know, go for a swim, or get a bicycle, or, you know, some other thing that you can do that you enjoy. But just because I run doesn't mean that everybody should run. You know, I think that often people who have been through problems, who are not trained in psychology or in therapy, or haven't worked with a lot of people, because I'm a Reiki master as well. I'm a minister, so I do a lot of different ministering to people, and we're all different. Even though we're all the same, we are all different, and different things will affect people differently. So, you know, I love horror movies. I absolutely love horrors. They do not scare me. I just enjoy the sort of, you know, I don't like romantic movies. That's just my thing. So, like I say, most people wouldn't want to watch the stuff that I watch, and that's okay. It doesn't affect me in a negative way. I don't think I want to now become a serial unaliver or anything like that. So yeah, I think it's getting to know yourself, getting to understand you and what your triggers are as well, what triggers you. So if there's a type of music that you don't like, that does trigger you, don't play it. You know, stay away from it. That's what I've learned over the years is, you know, that specific type of music's not my cup of tea, so just move on.
Yeah, Ben Shaw there saying music can work both ways. If I hear a song that I don't like, it could easily ruin my day. Slipknot, for instance, I'd go into a really dark mood if I had to listen to that, and that's fine. That's your preference there. Like my taste of music is very different. Is has changed a lot. Like I was upset. I still have the tracks. I was obsessed a lot with rap and hip hop because I'm still a massive Eminem fan to this day because his music helped me a lot during my temperament days when I was a child, and I still have those tracks. I still listen to. I don't listen to it as much as I used to, but they're there. There are some of his tracks that are still some of my favorites to this day, and even some of his newer tracks. Like even though they're not the same, I still get the same vibe from him, even though it's different. But that's kind of like there's sometimes I like to listen to, I don't know, maybe it's because I used to play a lot of Call of Duty. I like to listen to some certain military songs as well, but that doesn't make me a warmonger. But it kind of like if I'm like playing a certain game or whatever, maybe I'll play that as well. There, Doc Davis says I listen to six musics. Is that like just 6 different song tracks or genres there, or just out of reference, Doc? If you don't have to share if you don't want to there. Fanman Talk says the best thing about festivals is you're in a field with 90,000 people and you all have something in common. You can start a conversation with a stranger instantly, and that right there is what you that's I love how that you put that there, because I remember literally last Sunday, you know, every we got season tickets for promotion called Revolution Pro Wrestling. Me and my partner, we go to their regular regional show. They do once a month. They do in London, right? And we got 12 shows this year in the regional show, and we went there last Sunday, and like everybody kind of knows everyone, because the more you keep going to the same shows, the more same people you recognize and whatnot, and you get that sense of socialism. And then one day, like you're chatting with one group of people, and then someone else from another group ends up coming in, and someone else knows somebody else, and then you end up starting a conversation with somebody else. I was having a conversation with someone that ended up having the exact same jumper of me that I had on, just because we didn't realize it until somebody pointed out, you guys are wearing the same jumper, right? And they were like, oh yeah, like what's all that about? And all of a sudden we're just starting a conversation there, and that, even though it's like I think it's about 100 200 people there, but even that is just like you're like the social aspects of it. I think that's a really good thing, and it goes back to what Witchy said earlier in the live stream about like talking to people, and just that kind of thing, not talking what we're doing here respectfully or on a phone or whatnot, but actually in-person conversations with people. That is a big thing, you know. And it doesn't even have to be about the conversations about there were times where I was talking to people not talking about wrestling. I was like, oh, how was your Christmas? Or, you know, what did you guys do for Christmas, or something like that, the festive period or something. Yeah, it doesn't always have to be about wrestling just because we're at a wrestling event. Sometimes we can switch up the conversation to something else. So, and even at a music festival, sometimes it's not even just talking about the music. Sometimes it could be, oh, it was a nightmare getting here, or the bathrooms not working, or so like that. Like just like those kind of things just stirs up a different conversation and whatnot. So yeah, great point there. Mel says a tip for Witchy: if you want a laugh when running, more for newbies but funny as F, the Runner's Code. It's an audio book. But the way he reads it is a lol, says Mel there. There's an idea there. Mel also says, I want to run, but first I need a front wheel that fits. Okay. we'll get you those front wheels, and then you can get going then, Mel. Ben Shaw says, Queen are just as a bad imitation of Sparks. Don't get me wrong, Freddie is a legend, but no Sparks, no Queen, says Ben Shaw. Diane says to Winning Pagan, I think they are better than Queen, but that's just ripped me a new one, and says no, Queens are great there. I'm looking forward to my non-politics live stream later this month, because I'm going to be doing ones on movies, so that's going to be a fascinating one to talk about all sorts of movies, and I'm very to do a non-politics live stream. Be interesting one. I can't wait to do a music one. That'll be a lot of fun as well. Sarah says all audiobooks work for me when my mind is at its worst. I listen to my favorite book trilogy. You know what? That's fantastic, Sarah. Thank you for sharing that. You know, audiobooks are really absolutely fascinating, and it reminds me of like I've never actually got into audiobooks. There's something like it's always been like something that I should try, but I haven't tried. But when I was younger, my dad got us cassette tapes of the original Lord of the Rings, and then we used to play and listen to that. And I remember the first time listening to it, and then I was like in awe of how amazing it was. And this was on cassette tapes, yeah. Like that's how long ago it is now. So that's kind of where my love for Lord of the Rings came from initially, because my dad has always been a fan of the books. I never was much of a reader, but he obviously read all the books and all that kind of stuff. And then when the film came out, that's when kind of like I really got into it as well. And that's why one of my passions is to go to New Zealand, just because I want to see the sets and see not just for the beautiful country and the people, but also because it's where the Lord of the Rings where most of it was filmed as well. So yeah, just went from audiobooks to New Zealand in that conversation there. Thank you for sharing, Sarah. The station BBC Six Music says Doc Davis. I think my partner's my partner's mum puts on BBC Music 6 sometimes in the morning on the TV sometimes there. Yeah. But if anyone wants to listen to some good mental health songs, just look up Citizen Soldiers, says Mel, as a suggestion there as well. And Viper Scott, thank you for reminding us there that Samaritan's phone number, and obviously for if anyone needs to, the website is samaritans.org there. He's obviously got the Scotland one, but it's actually, you only need to just click it for anywhere where you guys are. You can always find the contacts there as well. There. Thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. Went to 6 music festivals last year, says Ben Shaw, to see Young Fathers, who are the best lived bands that I've seen in 30 odd years of gigs. Wow, that's awesome, Ben. There. A Van Man Talk says, wow, high praise, Ben. I'll have to check them out then. Oh, well, there you go. You've given Van Man something to think about there as well. What's that there you're saying? Oh, Terry Pratchett there. What was I have to read the original one. That was always a dream, wasn't it? I wish I'd known then what I know now. But when you get older, you find out that you now wasn't you then was a twerp. Vimes Night Watch Pratchett there. He also says, you then was what you had to be to start out on the rocky road of becoming you now. And one of those rocky patches on that road was being a twerp, if I said that right. The Vimes Night Watch Terry Pratchett there as well. Oh, thanks for sharing that, guys. Appreciate that, Pagan. Yeah, we've all of a sudden gone deep into music in the chat, and that's pretty awesome there as well. Yeah, music is a great outlet, but sometimes also it can be like, even it where other things is also, as you said, about reading books, and obviously not everybody is into books, but sometimes certain TV series and films can also play on our emotions as well. Like obviously the world is Britain is gripped with the whole Traitors series, and that can have its ups and downs, but that's not really like, that's more of an entertainment thing rather than, is that really something that affects your mental health, these TV series and films? I don't know. I think it's mainly, I don't know if it does, TV series and films. Does it really affect your mental health? I don't know. What do you honestly think about it? I'm not quite sure how to on that.
I think it does. I do think it does. I don't watch reality TV, so I haven't watched Traitors. I watched Big Brother years ago, but I don't watch any of that stuff. I don't want to watch other people's lives, so I watch, like I said, horror movies, sort of crime dramas, things that make me think. But again, everybody has different things that they. Watching reality TV is going to make you ill or anything like that. I think it's okay. I mean, we have Netflix now, don't we? So we can sit and binge watch Stranger Things, for example, or whatever series you're watching. Whereas when I was growing up, there were only 3 TV channels, and you had to wait a whole week to watch the next episode of Dallas, for example, or Airwolf, or Knight Rider, or those shows that's like, oh, and everybody talked about it the next day. Whereas now, you've got all these streaming channels, so you can watch what you want when you want, which I think is a good thing. So I think perhaps some will affect some people, especially the people who are more open to sort of the darker stuff and how it will affect them. I mean, there was the whole satanic panic, wasn't there, back in the 80s with, thinking that music was satanic and so on, and it goes through these phases, and at the moment it's very trans issues, which, I mean, at Bloodstock last year I met so many amazing trans women. It was unbelievable, just absolutely awesome. And like Van Man said earlier, it doesn't matter when you're at a music festival like that. Everybody's there. If you're in a mosh pit and you fall down, everybody picks you up. Well, when I went to see Slipknot several years ago, they want you to crouch down, and I'm like, I can't get down that far. I'm a lot older than all these youngsters around me. And then you've got to jump up. I couldn't get back up. I was wearing my New Rocks at the time as well, so the people next to me had to help me up. But that's the thing, I think that when I saw Stevie Nicks 2 years ago, I went on my own, 2 people next to me, we all got talking, we were all singing the songs, so if you're there for that kind of thing, that's brilliant. And I do think that, again, movies, TV shows are subjective, the same as music. So I think if you enjoy a certain genre, watch it. If it's going to be something that takes you out of a depression or a bad thought, watch something you enjoy.
Yeah. Pete's Music was saying there about EastEnders. Yeah, I mean, my family would, my parents would watch EastEnders religiously. She doesn't anymore. My mum can't stand EastEnders anymore. It's completely changed to what it was. But yeah, she used to watch it religiously. I'm sure there are a lot of people who still to this day watch it religiously. But yeah, EastEnders was definitely something that's like, right, everyone shut up. EastEnders is on. Be quiet. Or it was Coronation Street, or what was the other one? Neighbours. Neighbours was probably one of them. But yeah. Yeah, that was just something there, but yeah, I do think, yeah, you are right. It does have an effect of some way, shape, or form on our mental health. Because if a film or a TV series and something doesn't go right the way you want to, it can make you put you in a certain mood that makes you down for the day, or well, if it brings you up for the day, it's obviously a different story. But if you're feeling down, like, that's not a good thing that you want to go into. Like, what you don't want to do is going into work or anything in a downside. You want something to bring you up. And there's something that we haven't mentioned that can be a real counter to mental health and the effects of mental health when it comes to our depression and whatnot, and that is laughter, comedy. And that is something that I really do feel that is such a big counter to mental health. It can really brighten your mood, really make your best day. And that's why in less than an hour's time, I will encourage people to go and check out Daily Blase's live stream at 5 o'clock, because it's a live stream where you can have, where it doesn't need to be taken seriously. We can have a laugh, and sometimes it could be really, really silly stuff from him, but it's there just to have a laugh, have a giggle. And like the same things of why do I add like funny videos to my live streams? It's because I want to kind of like break the ice a little bit of all the tension and downpour sometimes. I do the stupidest funny memes on that global news live stream, which some people get and some people don't get. Well, it's kind of just like to throw things off. Laughter and comedy is a great thing. I don't know how many of you've actually been to a comedy show. It's something actually I keep telling myself I'm going to want to do. Like, I'm a big fan of Matt Green. I know many of you guys have listened to Matt Green's comedy on YouTube because we use these videos and whatnot, but I've actually been to one of his stand-ups. I think I'd actually would like to go to one of his stand-ups. Or if you've been to what's his name, Michael McIntyre, or some of these other comedians, just to kind of like, and it's just you want to go away like feeling getting a lot of laughs in, you know, that emotion there. That's a real counter emotion to when you're feeling bad, when you're feeling bad and really down. Like, literally, when you're in that mood, right, and you've got social and you've got literally the power of the internet in front of you, you could just type funny video and it'll show you videos of dogs doing stupid things, or a cat doing something silly, or, you know, that you could just literally just something there, and straight away it can really switch you on a dime. Witchy, what's something that really makes you laugh or funny? Is there a certain chameleon, or like what's your side of it when it comes to laughter and comedy?
I did get to see the Big Ian in show live, Billy Connolly. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He was so funny. Even to this day, I've got some Billy Connolly DVDs actually that my mum gave me, so I put them on every now and again. I know the jokes, but it you know, it's just something I enjoy, and I do enjoy certain comedians as well. You mentioned Michael McIntyre. I love his stuff, but last night I was scrolling through stuff because I couldn't fall asleep, and a guy came up on my feed. I don't know his name, and it was just a short clip. I think it was probably on TikTok. And he was American, and he was saying that, you know, sat with his grandma and looking at photographs, and she was saying, this is your grandfather next to a Spitfire, and, you know, past the next photo. Oh, this is, you know, me next to the pyramids, and this is your mother on a horse. And then today it's, what's this? Oh, that was my breakfast. Swipe again. Oh, that was an angle of something that I saw. Or that was a, you know, and it is the photos that we have now compared to what we did have, because we've got a camera on our phone, you know, so everything can be a photograph. Everything can be, you know, and I don't take pictures of my food because I eat it too fast. So, but if it's cake, like you, cake, chocolate, I've got a sweet tooth. If I'm not taking a photo of it, I'm eating it. So yeah, comedians are great. Comedy movies, whatever, you know, you enjoy it. Like, I loved Bad Boys. I don't know if you remember the movies Bad Boys with Will Smith and Martin. Oh, I can't think of his surname.
Oh God, I know the guy, but yeah, they were absolutely hilarious together.
Yeah,
they were absolutely hilarious together. Actually, what I loved about the film wasn't just so much those two, was when they kept getting told off by the
yeah.
it just made me laugh.
The Lethal Weapons movies as well, they were the same.
Stuart Lee says Ben Shaw. Stuart Lee.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Now go on, you were saying?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think the biggest laugh I have was watching my cats do stupid things. And you know, oh no, here we go. Don't knock this over, Goblin. Come on, this side. Sorry, I've got one. No, this way. No, don't go that way. Go this way. Sorry, she's going to end up knocking everything over. This way. That's it. No, this way.
Sure, don't want to come in front of the camera.
No, she wants to come the other way round, and I'm trying to get her to come this way, and she'll knock everything over. It's getting dark, you see. It's close to tea time. So, but yesterday she was on, I've got, where I sit here in the living room, I've got a thing of pens, a pot of pens that I use. And I was closing the curtains and taking down the decorations, and something fell off of the window. She was asleep on the cushion beneath the window, and she just shot off, knocked everything over. The rest of the cats just went at the same time, and that was it. You know, chaos, absolute chaos. And they do things like that. I think that for me, cats doing daft stuff cheers me up all the time.
An interesting comment from Van Man says, have you noticed that they don't really make comedy films anymore? 20 years ago, Adam Sandler, Austin Powers, Borat were the biggest films of the year. I mean, we're moving a bit away from mental health a little bit, but I would I think it's just really just because, you know, the next generation's taste is different to ours. It's always a case of, you know, as we get older and the next generation have different start watching and tasting, having different things. You know, it's like, yeah, but back in my day, we listened to this, or we watched this and that, and it's kind of it's a normal thing, like in terms of different generations. I think that's just kind of the norm. Like, we're not always gonna like be on board with what like our kids listen to be fair. Like you keep hearing the amount of times they talk about Fortnite, and I'm like, I can't stand Fortnite. Like, I'm never going to play Fortnite, no matter how great of a game that people tell me it is. I'm not interested. Like, I'll stick to my ones. But you know, that's another thing there. Yeah, we've gone. We are. This is still a mental health live stream, but yeah, if this kind of conversation is helping you guys, yeah, we'll keep it going. Everyone wants to be like Mike, bad boy, says Kirsty there. Darlene has said, has anyone seen the 1994 movie The Crow with Brandon Lee? I have not seen that personally. No, I haven't. I haven't seen it. I don't watch a lot of old films, me personally. Oh God, you're gonna tell me off now, Witchy.
It's not old. It's not old. It's a brilliant film. Brilliant film. He actually passed away while making that film. But I have a copy on VHS. So yeah, if you've got a VHS player, I can lend it to you. But it is brilliant. But I do like the new Crow movie as well. I watched that recently and I really enjoyed it. So different actors. Skarsgård, I think he's a brilliant actor, but Brandon Lee was awesome as in that character role. So yeah, I have seen it. Lots and lots. And it comes from a comic as well. It comes from a not a comic, they don't call them comics, do they? An illustrated book. The original story is an illustrated book. So yeah.
No worries, Van Man. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Appreciate that. I'm not sure where we're going to go from here, because going back to because we've gone from going to different types of things that kind of help us with regards to our mental health. And I think actually we've talked about films, we talked about music, audio books and more. And I suppose that way it comes to our working environment and how we control and affect our mental health within a working environment. Everyone's working environments is different. Some people obviously are now happily retired where they don't have that situation. They're in the comfort of their own home. And that's where do you go to then? Like, sometimes you'll turn to here on YouTube, which we appreciate you guys giving the time for us, or sometimes they go to a certain community in their area. There is like my partner's mum's granddad. He regularly goes to a tennis club that's literally less than 2 minutes walk from where his house is, and he's been a part of that tennis club pretty much all his life, and he pretty much knows everyone inside out. He's actually the most well-known man in the around the entire community, to be fair. But that's like a community thing there, where it's like, even though he's living on his own most of the time, there's a community there he can always come talk to and chat to and whatnot there. But in terms of a work environment, because we touched a little bit on the work there, and I guess it all depends on the kind of work you do. So for me, you know, spending a lot of time working in retail, I work with all sorts of different staff, you know, with different kinds of customers. Some really lovely customers, some really actually go away feeling really good about themselves, about things and whatnot. And some not so happy customers where I have to tell them that they can't get a refund because of X, Y, and Z. And they leave me really negative because they were really battering me, you know, because I have to follow the company policies and whatnot, and that can put you in a downer mood. Or something happened with a certain member of staff, or, you know, it could be events that can really bring you up or bring you down, and it can affect your work rate as well at work. So your mental health really can take a real real spike or real drop depending on what goes on at your job. And it also can be the type of work that you're doing as well, because sometimes you might have to do a specific task that you don't want to do, but you get asked to do, and and it just it just puts you really in a dampener there. So, and I don't know how many of you want to share your experiences with the kind of work that you guys have done and how that's made you go up and down and whatnot. But retail retail is difficult because you have to interact with customers. You can't get around that notion. Like, you need to talk to people, and if you can't talk to people, like, it's very difficult for people to be in retail if you can't talk to people, if you can't manage a till, or you can be somebody who could put stuff on the shelves, but you're still going to get approached by customers during trading hours, and that's where you've got to be able to respond, and how you respond also matters as well. It could be very difficult. Like, you could have somebody who's really kind and really calm. You could have someone who's in an absolute desperate rush and they need to grab something, and it's like you're trying to help them the best you can. Nowadays as well in retail, it's not just, they also have the added thing of people coming to collect their orders, and their orders are not arriving and whatnot. That's a real headache, and I got to experience that a few times in my last couple of years in retail, because that's a more rampant thing now. Pretty much every single retailer, it's like they have these orders. It's the same with like Deliveroo and all that kind of stuff. You have it now with pretty much every retailer out there, where you order something, and you have it you go to the shop to get it collected, and you get told it's not there, and there's all sorts of reasons why. And it's just, again, it's a stress thing. It's a stress thing there. I don't know if you want to add anything about what the working life regards to mental health for that, Witchy, from your experiences.
Yeah, I think I worked in retail as well for a long time. Come on then. Oh, she wants to be where the camera is. No, come here. Come here. That's it. Come and sit here. There we go. This is my one-eyed cat. This is Goblin. She lost an eye last year, the year before. So she's just a pest. I think that, I worked in retail as well, and also had some dreadful customers, but also some wonderful ones. And you have to be, sometimes you've got to bite your tongue and, just put up with it. I've worked in sort of jobs where I've had to deal with people on the phone, people face to face. So I think, personally, I think that your HR department in your company should have some sort of access to mental health. When I was, go on then. Sorry, she's just being a pest. When I was working here, the last job I did before I became very unwell, I didn't realize at the time, but they were trying to get rid of me because of my illness. And I didn't realize that what they were doing was illegal. So if you are in a position with your mental health where your company is trying to kick you out or get rid of you, contact Google online for a group system, or even an organization that can help you. I mean, Citizens Advice would be a go-to for, they should have numbers and details of people that can help you, so that you can get the advice that you need if somebody's trying to, get rid of you because you've got mental health problems. That should not happen anymore. It should be, it should be treated as every other illness is, other physical illnesses. So definitely seek out the support and help that you need there. And I would say Citizens Advice would be the first port of call for that, because they have so many resources to help you with finding out the right people to contact. So I was really upset because I got contacted. It was about 2 weeks after I had accepted the offer that I was made, and they said it was illegal, and I didn't know it was illegal. So I could have still been working, but it was too late at that stage. So, and we know that companies are supposed to give their staff support in the areas that they are needed. But again, there are a lot of people out there that run companies that just don't care. So I think if you don't enjoy your job, then I would suggest looking for another one. And I know it's hard. I know it's really, really hard to do that. But there's no point in doing something that you hate. What's that saying? Live to work, but you should be, rather than living to work, you should be working to live. Is that the right way around? Have I said that the right way around? So
no, you said it the right way around, because we should be working to have a life.
That's it. Yeah.
I think you raised some great points there, and citizens' advice is one that I didn't really think a lot about there, but everyone's work is different. I will say, just for reference, that that there are both during my 15 years with Superdrug, there's always been like people to contact confidentially and whatnot. There, I don't recall if there was a mental health department or not, but there were definitely people that you could talk to anonymously if you ever needed to talk to somebody. Like they were always there available. There wasn't like any kind of financial barrier. They were always there as an employee, because they want to make sure that you are there. That if you needed to talk to them, you can do. If you didn't want to talk to your manager or assistant manager, whatever your role was, there was an outside source that you could talk to if you weren't comfortable with whatever your situation is. And obviously you could have a really, really bad boss, which can really affect your mental health, because you go in with not looking forward to your job, in a downward, because obviously straight off the bat you're not going to have a great day, and already right there, that's already affecting your mental health. You're working, you're trying to do your job, and you're just like, you're literally in this ideal of stress where it's just like you're counting down the time to the day, the clock of when you'll finally finish your shift, you can finally get out of there. That's not good for your mental health. That's not good for you at all, because rather than actually being able to concentrate and think about your job and just trying to get and whatnot, you're more concerned about the clock and wanting to run it down, rather than actually trying to go in with a bit more positivity and enthusiasm. Because there are some people who go into their jobs and they're some of the best jobs in the world for them, or it's a job that completely suits them, and they've got a great boss and they've got a great team around them, and it's a very positive thing where they're going in a lot more enthusiastic because they've actually got great people around them. The last company I worked for did have a mental health department. I never used it personally, but it was there if people needed it. Again, it's another option. It was a very good. The Entertainer was a very good company, because they really made sure to look after their staff. And I've said this many times. They helped me out during when the pandemic happened. I think I said this to you guys. I got full pay I got full pay during the first lockdown. Like, they paid out of pocket for all their staff to make sure that they were well looked after during that. And they didn't need to, but they didn't need to do that. The owner didn't need to do that, but he wanted to make sure everybody was well looked after. And they did a very good job of looking after us and trying to keep every now and then they would just try to keep in the loop of like how you guys doing, like, sort of thing. I remember I actually called my manager up one time during lockdown just to ask how she was doing, and she was like, yeah, just like, it was just like kind of off the cuff sort of thing, and she really appreciated that call, even though she's got a partner there and I've got my partner there, but it's kind of like, yeah, a bit different, just talking. It didn't even have to be about work, it could just be unrelated sort of thing. But yeah, losing your job, or having your losing your job, or the threat of losing your job, or having your wages cut or hours cut, or whatever, those kind of things, that's a really bad psychological, and as you say, part of the mental health on there. That can be really, really really bad for people. And I can speak from experience as a manager for 2.5 years of my time in Superdrug, where I had to manage the budget for a store. and I had to explain to some staff that they had to cut the contracts on their hours because of what I had to go through. And that was not a difficult thing for me to do. It was not difficult. It was very difficult for me to have those conversations, telling people you can't have, you have to go from a 20-hour contract to a 12-hour contract because of certain budgets and whatnot. And I had to say to them, look, I can't accommodate you. The best thing I can do is that if you want to do extra hours, you have to go and work in other stores. If you want to go and work in other stores, like I will do everything. When extra hours are available, I'll offer them where I can. But this is the best I can do for you. And it's not me being a bad manager. It's just me being honest with the cards that I've been dealt with. But I also know that affects people because it means that they're getting less money in their account at the end of the month, which is very upsetting. And some bosses are very good at managing that. I would say I've done okay. I wouldn't say I did great with it. But some can be quite nasty about it all and saying this is happening whether you like it or not. I mean, I never came across like that me personally, but I tried to be as humane about it as I possibly can. And in the end, I did manage their budget in the end. But I think, but that can be very detrimental. Diana says retail will change your mental health. I agree with that. I think, when I've spent more, a good chunk of my life working for retail, more than 17, 18 years out of my 38 years of my life. Yeah, I would definitely say it definitely changed my mental health. Absolutely. There. Absolutely there. Let's have a look and see what you guys are saying there. Ellie, what you're saying there? When I first was signed off at the beginning, my work was putting pressure on me, giving me things to do at home. I was like, no, doctor's orders. They wanted me to quit. I held out for them to dismiss me. So asking you to do things you weren't comfortable doing. I'm sorry to hear that. There. Sarah says, I work from home mostly. I'm a coder. I find it difficult in the office due to anxiety, it being too noisy. It's isolating being at home by myself, though, which doesn't help my mental health either. Yeah, so that's a great... thank you for sharing that, Sarah, first and foremost, because I appreciate that, because you brought up an interesting point there about when it comes to working from home, whereas working in an office, because in an office, you're with a bunch of people. Now, obviously, you're all doing your own thing, but you're also all part of the same team as well. Whereas it's like if you wanted to talk to someone right there about a certain situation, or you couldn't help that you can ask someone, can't you? There. Whereas if you're in your home, yes, you can obviously call out to somebody or somebody where you are, because there is obviously you have those contacts there, right? There, but it's not the same as being actually there physically in person, in comparison to what me and Witchy Goth are right now is talking to each other here through the power of the internet, whereas in the office, obviously there's been and that goes into another subject about why there's less office buildings as well, because it's much easier for some people to work from home rather than working in an office, and it also saves these companies money as well from paying out for these office buildings. That's why there's less office buildings as well, because a lot of it's just a case of, well, just do it online now. Just I've seen like the jobs of like doing phone calls, and you just do them from home as long as you have a different internet there. But and sometimes, as you said, it's being too noisy in the office. And many of us have seen those films where they're all working in the office, and that's a lot of noise there. Totally get that, totally understand that point of view. But there's also the opposite end of it, where, well, you're not alone, you're with a group of people, and you can approach those people if you wanted to. So like I say, it's different for everyone for that, Sarah. So thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. Let's just have a scroll down, see what else people are saying. Trump will be after all that baby oil next time with Diddy. Okay, Ellie. Okay. Mel says, I had a brief job doing sports photography. Press room to pitch had stairs. I had to fight to use players' tunnels well before players. I had started well before the wheelchair, but didn't want to stop. Photography is a wonderful. Photography is a wonderful job. I've been saying I wish I had a professional, like an amateur camera, like one of those, because when I go to wrestling shows, I see people with these cameras, not phone cameras, like proper cameras. Like they have two video cameras to record the match, and then they have one professional photographer around doing the photos. But even fans have some of the top-notch photos, and they take great photos of wrestlers and whatnot, and then you see them on Instagram and whatnot, and they look absolutely marvelous. But even just but that's just wrestling. There's so many different things where photography can be a wonderful thing. Obviously, photography for modeling, or as you said, in your instance, sports. Like there's all like nature. Photography is a great thing. My mum actually said that I could have gotten into photography when I was younger, because one of the things I used to do a lot for my family is we had the old VCR camera, and I always used to do lots of the recording for the family. So most of it was the rest of my family and less of me, because I was always the one doing the recording. It was always me with the recording. And I actually, at one point, for a brief period, I was part of this camcorder club for a brief period as well. But I never really got into the community there as much as I wanted to, and I kind of fell out of it there. But photography is a great thing as well. Dave McGinn, it's good to see you there. First chance to comment. I have been listening. Kevin, a real broadcasting legend. Which broadcasting legend? Sorry, David, was you mentioning? Sorry. Just scroll down and see what else people are saying. My gear is all packed up now. Don't see it coming back out anytime soon, if ever, says Indeed. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Kevin says, I do photography. I've been doing islands in Scotland for the past 10 years. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. That's really wonderful stuff there. I like that. But people can actually. There's obviously people who actually make a living from their photography. It's absolutely it's awesome stuff. Oh, he's a broadcasting legend. Dave McGinn says. Oh, Kevin is. Oh, thank you there. Appreciate. I wasn't aware that Kevin was a broadcasting legend. I appreciate that information now. So there. We're coming about 20 minutes away now from Friday Frolics, so I'm not sure what more we need to add really with what we've kind of discussed. We've talked a wide range of topics, haven't we? I'm not sure if there's anything more we want to talk about. Is there anything you want to add that we haven't already discussed?
I think listen to yourself. That's the most important thing. Listen to you. What does your mind tell you to do on that day? If you need a duvet day, have a duvet day. If you need to speak to somebody, try and speak to somebody. I know that Alistair's been or Viper Scott's been putting up the Samaritans number 116123 here in the UK. Ring them. They are brilliant. I know, Regan, you said that you've used them before. I've used them. They're absolutely brilliant. Listen to what your body says. There's so much advice, but you can only do what you do. Eating healthy, exercising, doing things that you enjoy, whether that is crafting work, crochet, photography. I mean, photography is not really crafting, is it? Painting, drawing, listening to music, reading a book, writing a book maybe, or, something that you feel is right for you. If you can, journal. I found journaling, I still journal. I've been journaling for years now. I've got loads of journals in my study that one day when I pass over, somebody's going to have to go through and get rid of them. But I think that it's, for me, that helps, because I can go back a few weeks and see, I remember I was feeling that on that day. Also, another thing, and I know that you do it on your shows every morning, Regan, is your quota of the day. I do I get an app so it's a oh my goodness, the word's just gone. It's like a quote of the day. It's an affirmation of the day. So something brief like, I love the person I'm becoming. And I repeat that 3 times, and then I might repeat it again throughout the day, so that it gives me that sort of boost to say, yeah, I am moving in the right direction. So just little lifts like that through the, and the other thing that is really easy to do, and all of you can do it right now, is give yourself a hug. That is important. Love yourself.
I think I'll squeeze Jasper instead.
Okay. Yeah, I think that self-love, and we are a world of sort of where we revere people who are famous or wealthy or whatever, but we need to love ourselves. You are enough. You are enough.
That's
Don't worry
the 3
about what
words.
they're doing.
The 3 words you just said, you are enough. That's something I want to touch on 1 or 2 things actually as we wrap up actually. So on the Discord community, there's a YouTube channel called Love Yourself, which does a lot of it's just literally different kinds of music, and it can kind of soothing music, it can be night music and whatnot. I don't use it very often, but it can be sometimes something that can just kind of like can put you in a certain mood, a calm a mood, maybe even might help you with your sleep. You could give it a try. If any of you are on Instagram, there's a wonderful friend of mine, and her name is Amanda, and I mentioned her name before, and her Instagram page is called Make Your Own Sunshine, and she does wonderful positive things. She's also a teacher as well, so she's a teacher as well. So she this is where her positivity, and every day she does a what are we going to empower with ourselves today, and sometimes says and it can be all empower yourself with this, or empower yourself with this, or empower yourself with this. As she always says, have a wonderful day, and all that kind of thing. And that kind of thing can just set the rest of your day ahead. So and she was really helpful when I was really she was really helpful to me when I was really in a dark spot at one time. And I reached out to her, and she was very supportive of me. So I do have, I think she's got a YouTube channel, but she doesn't use it as much as her Instagram. But do give her a check out as well. And I'll just put I did say I said I'll put this up on for today anyway. I know it's the wrong way around, but today's one's actually a nice one for those who missed the daily quote this morning, and that is stay close to anything that makes you glad that you are alive. Stay close to anything that makes you glad that you are alive. And that's an anonymous one. So I think that's a really nice one. A very nice one there, indeed. So, guys, in about 15 minutes, Daily Blase is going to go live with his Friday Frolics. If you guys want to head over there when he goes live, feel free to do so. I will try to pop in, and I'll put what I normally do is I have it on the background. I don't chat too much because I'm doing stuff, but do head over and give some love to Daily Blase and his live stream there. He goes live for about an hour and a half, roughly, sometimes 2 hours, I think he does. But it's I really mean this, like, because we've talked about some very difficult subjects, mental health and whatnot. It will make your day feel better. Some of the stuff that he puts up is really fun stuff. So I do recommend it there, guys. I do recommend it. Thank you, Witchy Goth, for coming on. I really appreciate it. And
Thank you.
This was very good. I wouldn't say it was fun. I was just saying it's fascinating to talk about these things and having ways to kind of combat that as well. And I appreciate people also, sharing their stories and sharing things in the comments. I know that's because it's not easy to talk about these things. I really do understand that it's not easy to talk about them, and I appreciate people opening up today as well. So thank you guys as well. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, just thank you everybody in the chat. I've seen loads of comments and we've not been able to answer all of them, but you guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. The fact that you show up here You know, the vast majority of you are in the chats in various other content creators as well. You're amazing. Just remember that you are amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you, Regan, for having me do this live stream with you. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
No, I appreciate it, and it's good because it's kind of like we can bounce off each other. But what I'm really happy is not only did we bounce off each other, we made sure that we bounce off people's comments in the chat as well. I think that's a really great thing as well. Guys, I'll let you guys know I'm gonna, like I say, I do this every couple of months. So what I'll do whenever I look at the next date for whenever the next mental health live stream will be, I'll see if Witchy Goth is available and we can do this again in a couple of months' time, because obviously we don't want to talk about it all the time, but every couple of months it's nice to come back and talk about these things here. One last thing before we head out, guys, if you want to financially support either one of us for the work that we do, what's your
it's Buy Me a Coffee. It's on my page on my YouTube channel. It's on the description of the YouTube channel, so it's there, but it is a Buy Me a Coffee. So that would be greatly appreciated, going towards a microphone and headphones and a camera, because obviously this being on the phone, your guys are getting feedback, and I'm sorry, I know that it's annoying, but I don't have the equipment at the moment. So
yeah, so guys, if you're not subscribed already to Witchy Goth's YouTube channel, please subscribe. And if you can financially support Witchy and her work, you know, consider buying her coffee. It really does make a massive difference. And the same for me. If you guys want to financially support me in the work that I do while I'm currently demonetized, again, you can either join the Patreon or buy a big coffee. Links for them are in the description on my channel. They're also here in the description as well. But yeah, if you want to financially support either one of us for the work that we do on either of our YouTube channels, is also greatly appreciated. Obviously, not everyone can financially support, and again, that's totally understandable. And I've said this before, and which you will 100% agree with me. Take care of yourself before you take care of others. If you can support us, great, in a financial way, great, fantastic, we appreciate it. If you can't, don't worry about it. One of the best things you can do in a non-financial matter, hitting that like button, sharing our videos and whatnot, leaving comments down below, all that stuff helps boost the algorithms for our YouTube channels. That's the best way you can support us if you can't support us in a financial manner. So don't ever feel guilty if you can't financially support us. You know, just doing that kind of stuff really does help support both our channels. So thank you to those who do that. We really appreciate it. Anything else to add before we go?
Just thank you to everybody, and thank you to you, Regan, for setting this up. It's been great. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I'm very happy so many people came out as well, guys. So hopefully I'll see you guys in about 10 minutes over on Friday Frolics. But thank you all so much for watching. Take care and have enjoy the rest of your afternoon, guys, and enjoy the weekend as well. All right.
Bye, guys.